Welcome everybody. We're moving right ahead here. This moves a lot faster than Jacer. With all those details that are in Jacer, of course, it slows down in time page by page. So we're already to the point here in 28, the number of generations from David to Christ. We're already the part where Isaac blesses Jacob and sends him to Padanaram. Okay, and we're going to see that Esau marries this Mahalalel, the daughter of Ishmael. There's your marriage into the occult religions. The vision of Jacob's ladder and the stone of Bethel. Now, the thing about that is that is a big area for the occultists that took it over. That's where the calf went back in the days of Jeroboam and Rehoboam, the one that went to Dan. There was two calves made. Those are to Molech, the Middle Eastern god of human sacrifice. But here we're going to see this vision, this door open to heaven here with Jacob's ladder, the vision of Jacob's ladder. So there's a lot here in this small chapter of 28, so let's get underway. Book of Genesis, chapter 20 and 8. It says, "And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him, and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." Again, we've been over that. Why that is, the importance of this when it comes to Christ. 2, it says, "Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence, of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother." And we discussed the importance of not having the tainted spiritual bloodline or the physical blood that's tainted with the fallen angels, which is just prevalent around the Middle East. It is just accelerated there. In 8 it says, "And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham, to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham." Now we know that that includes all believers. It's given to us in similitudes, it's given to us in allegories, parabolic, and it's given to us in plain speaking. Christ talked about it. It was prophesied to Abraham, how he would bless the father of many nations, it said, and how all nations, all families of the earth will be blessed, and that is through Jesus Christ, and the fulfillment of all of it has to do with the new Jerusalem. Now, that's one of the things that the occultists say that they're looking for through that telescope. They say there's a star on the way to Earth, they're saying. Yeah. And what do they call it? They call it the New Jerusalem. So, the telescope there, Lucifer, is not just looking for the star Sirius, the fallen star, the Nibiru star. No, not just the dog star. But they're looking for that New Jerusalem that's coming closer and closer to Earth. It's on its way right now as we speak. Okay? Now, a lot of those occult groups like the Freemasons, they talk about that. Now, it ain't on your evening news, it ain't in your newspaper, But you read closely their speeches that they're giving nowadays, they're talking about this terrible star coming, and they call it the New Jerusalem. How about that? How about that? So there's the uses of the telescope there on the Sacred Mount there, the Apache Sacred Porthole Mount. And that's what they took from the Apache, and that's where their telescopes are. The most powerful in the world. 5, it says, and Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. In 6, we have a new paragraph when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padan Aram. Sentence is going on. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahileth, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife. Now see how he did that despite his parents. And that's a sign that you are in bad shape with the law of Moses, because it's clear that God gave that doctrine to say, bless your parents and obey your parents. And here he is cursing his parents. He is rebelling against his parents. He is doing this to spite his parents and to rub it in and harass his mother. And all of that is, when you do that to your parents, it's satanic, folks. There's no other way out of it. You're going completely against the law of Moses, and that is satanic, folks. In 10, we got a new paragraph, and Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep, period. That's a pretty hard pillow, isn't it, folks? Anyway, 12, and he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. Is that not a heavenly dream sent to him about the porthole to heaven there? 13, and behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. Now, you're getting a prophetic part to the dream. So now the porthole to heaven has more meaning, does it not? In 14 it says, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Did you just hear that? How this is not just for one people, one family, one skin color, one hair, one height. None of that. This is the door and the way to heaven. Through Jacob, through Jesus Christ and his seed. Here's a guarantee. Now, one thing you don't see here is you're going to travel to the far stars in the universe, do you? You don't see him expanding down into hell, do you? Or do you see him ascending to heaven like the Tower of Babel? No, this is to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. Right, on the firmament of the earth. So when someone says they're going to travel to the stars, and I don't care how much of a patriot you are, how brainwashed you are, how you think you're saving America or saving the world and all this, when you say you're going to travel to the stars, you're quoting Satan, folks. God says, I'm going to drag you down, Satan. But see, people just don't read their Bible, and they don't realize how satanic the things that they're quoting are. I mean, this comes from real live patriots that believe in the United States and the Constitution, and yet they don't have the discernment because they don't read the real Bible. I don't even think they really read some of the other Bibles, the fake Bibles, but they don't read the King James, so they're not reading the Bible, and they don't realize by saying that man is destined to go to the stars. That's a satanic quote. Better go back and check what Babylon said. What did Nimrod say? Are you going to agree with Nimrod? Out there, Mr. Patriot? Anyway, we're going to be right here on the firmament of the earth. That's where we're going to go. And no one has went outside the Van Allen radiation belt. It'll fry your cookies for you. You'll end up radioactive toast for trying to do that. 15, and behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. In 16, and Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. 17, and he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Did you just hear that? He's describing a porthole there, folks. What kind of gate do you think it is out there? You got a gate to heaven? That's an interdimensional gate. That is not some physical gate, like the gate around the Rothschild mansion, or the gate to your horse corral out back, or the gate to your puppy pen. This is the spiritual gate to heaven. It's not a joke. The song about the pearly gates is not a joke, folks. And here he has identified one. Now, I go back to the Rothschilds financing the Rockefellers to set up the financing bank there that started Mormonism and the Protestant movement with the Anabaptists, and funded not just Mormons but the Jehovah's Witness, Taze Russell, all that. All of that came from this terrible center for the financing of religion. Because remember, religion and war go together. And these are the masters of war. And part of that war is religion. And we're going to have an expose of that on Sunday. Religion and war. The two mixed together. 18, and Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. And the occultists borrow this too. They set up their pillar and they put corn and wine and oil on it. So, see, they love to get in and pull little parts of the Bible out, see, to mock the Bible. It also masks what they really are when they imitate a ministry and they imitate a pastor and they act like they're holier than thou, and behind closed doors they grow horns. 19, and he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. 20, and Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. Okay, so there's that, and the Lord is his God. 22, and this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me I will surely give the 10th unto thee. Okay, and that's where everyone goes in here and starts this this tithing. It's a perversion of this. In other words, he didn't sit here and say every saint has to give him a 10th of their income. The 10th was a standard gift back in these days. It came from Babylon, and even Jacob and Melchizedek and the 10th. But we've been through the law and we're headed into it again. So anybody wants to know what the tithe was according to the law of Moses, we're headed right into it. We're headed right into Exodus. We're going to be there very shortly. And as we went over it before, we're going to go over it again, because there is specifics when it comes to tithing. And the king of Babylon, his name was Hammurabi. He wrote the law code for Babylon. It was on an obelisk. The 10th was his tax, okay, and that's way back before Nebuchadnezzar. All right, so what I'm telling you, this isn't some sacred duty where you got to go up and give it to your Family Faith and Fun Center church, or else you're robbing from God, and all this other baloney that they come in here, they hunt and they peck and they go right into this. This is what Jacob's saying that he will do for his king. His king is who? Yahshua, Jesus Christ. And he's going to do this. He's volunteering to do this for God. Not that he was commanded to do it, or that it's just something that's in his heart. So you don't pervert this into stealing people's wages and all the things that they do. Do I have to say anything about prosperity preaching? I don't think I do I? That's so evil. Prosperity preaching makes the Christian community look like a bunch of heathens. Bunch of heathens, folks. All right, so that's just a bad subject, and this is one of the lines that they borrow for their agenda. On into 29, there's a well in Haran that Jacob comes to. He gets his acquaintance with Rachel and Laban. Laban entertaineth him, and Jacob covenants for Rachel, and he's deceived for Leah. Now remember, this man is in the occult, all right, and Folks, I'll tell you what, it's in the Bible here, but Jacer really exposes it. I mean, this guy was full throttle occultist with all his idols. Remember, his idols were taken? Well, the details are there in Jacer, and we'll be going right into that, folks. We will be explaining that. So he's dealing with the occultist here. All right, so Reuben's born, Simon's born, Levi's born, and Judah. So here we are, 29, book of Genesis, verse 1. It says, Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field. And lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it, for out of that well they watered the flocks. And a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? ? And they said, We know him. 6, and he said unto them, Is he well? ? And they said, He is well, and behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. 7, and he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. In a new paragraph in 9, And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Okay. In 11, and Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice and wept. And this really harmonizes with Jacer, folks. 12, and Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son, and she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. Now notice here how nice and loving this is. Well, he gets deceived. Jacob does. He absolutely did not keep his word to Jacob. And then it goes on. And then when it's time to go, he kisses and huggy-wuggies and all that. Yeah, and then goes out and gets Esau to attack Jacob to get him killed. You realize this man was Laban was totally into the occult. He was an idol worshiper. He believed that his idols were talking to him. That's what the occultists do. And that's what that idol's going to do. That's going to be there in Jerusalem on Solomon's temple place. There on Mount Moriah. It's going to be talking to the world. Now, Bible says, no, they don't talk, because they don't. What you're seeing when the idol's talking is a deception from a demonic fallen angel. All the above. Okay, so there's that, and Laban was steeped in that. And when it comes to occult people, they're truce breakers. We'll see that here. New paragraph 15. And Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Question mark. Tell me, what shall thy wages be? All this is right word for word out of Jaser. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. 17. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. Okay, notice the 7 here. Notice the Shabul. Notice the week of years. 19. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. 21, new paragraph. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. Okay, now there's a whole, in other words, all the details on how he got this done, and the things that were said, and what the people were saying. Okay, all that is there in Jaser. It's very fascinating. But anyway, in 24, and Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Question mark. Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? 26, and Laban said, it must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. 27, fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also, for the service which thou hast served with me, yet 7 other years. Now, the details to this is that he didn't want Jacob to take off, because he was being blessed. God was blessing everything that Jacob did, okay, and he knew that. He knew that, so he didn't want him to leave. So this was his trick, his trap. It has nothing to really do with their customs at all. It was a deception, a lie, a trickery, and even all the people at the wedding here were singing this comment song and using this word, and he didn't understand it, and he thought, well, it's just their custom. Well, it had to do with the fact that that Leah was going to be snuck into this dark tent where he couldn't see. All those details are in Jaser, folks. Notice the 7 years. All right, in 28, and Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid. Okay, here comes the tribe of Dan, huh? Right, table people? Okay. Anyway, 30, and he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simon. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And that in the Hebrew they're saying is joined, according to the translators. 35, and she conceived again, and bare a son, and she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. So that was it. And according to the translators, that means praise. Praise. So, fact is, Jacob, he fulfilled his week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to wife also. See, all this goes right along with what we have in Jacer. But there's so many of the details that aren't here. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here's Bilhah, and that's going to be Dan.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be Dan. And she is from where? She is from Babylon. Okay, so, but all that's here, and it will continue here in 30. Rachel's grief for barrenness, and Bilhah's given to Jacob, and Dan and Naphtali, and anyway, we'll get this up to everybody so you can study. So we appreciate it. We're having a good time doing it. So we'll see you on the next CD.